I don't remember if I had myself unmuted or not. Did you hear me say that I slept like 10, 11 hours today or no?
I did not.
Okay, so I might have still had myself muted.
Okay. I am
That's fine. I thought I had unmuted myself and I guess I didn't, so.
I am starting the stream.
Alright.
There are, from what I remember, there are two separate characters. Both kind of switch narratives about halfway point. So do
Okay.
you want to read first, or for the first character, or do you want me to read for the first character? Because there's only two really involved.
The first character.
You want me to read for the first character?
I mean, if you want to, I said I can, but.
Oh, I only heard first character. It's up to
Oh,
you.
okay, I can read it.
Okay.
Oh, is this the first character?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me tell you a story. It was late that night. I was driving through some backwoods to visit a friend. Then I spotted something on the side of the road. That's when I first saw you.
Hello, butt kraken.
Sticking your thumb out, looking for a lift. So I decided to stop and help you out.
This also does have some choices to
Okay.
make, so that's another reason why I was like, let's do one. I think you would like this.
The night was so dark that I could barely see your face, but I managed to catch a glimpse of you through my faded headlights. Your front was smeared with dirt and grime, and your hair stuck out in every direction. You asked me for a ride to the next town over,
Dots.
and I said yes. I watched you climb into the back seat.
Yeah, hitchhikers.
We rode together in silence for miles. There was no radio signal out here, so music wasn't much of an option. I could barely hear you breathing. Sometimes I forgot you were there at all. Really?
I mean,
if there was a stranger in my car, I would not forget.
If you're focusing on the road, your brain just kind of like tunnel visions on what you're doing.
I guess that's fair.
Especially if you're in an unfamiliar place.
Yeah, I've definitely taken, like when I drove out here from Iowa, I drove through, I wanted to avoid any toll roads, so it was a lot of like country highway type roads and things like that. So when I drove through New Mexico especially, it was really, really late at night, so it was like dark and the radio signal was really bad, so there was just like
nothing.
Like music in Spanish or nothing. Yeah. And I was just like, this isn't what I'm in the mood for. So I was just like driving in silence, and there were a lot of like curves and hills and things like that. So
yeah,
I mean, I probably would have zoned out if there had been somebody else in there. I probably would have just been so focused.
Hi, Beryl.
The dust in the headlights swam in lazy streams.
Don't fall asleep.
And just as I started to drift away, you killed me. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Dots.
Something pierced through my stomach. Wait. Your arms were around my waist from behind the seat, your fingers clutching a bloody scalpel. What?
I am sleepy, and I think B is also sleepy.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more awake, but yes, mostly. I did sleep. I slept a really long time today, and I'm still kind of... My throat closed up. My mind went blank. My senses screaming. I lost control of the wheel. Crash.
Death.
Deceased. Maybe. My head was pounding. Needles prickled across my skin, cut with shattered bone and shrapnel.
Yeah, we're playing it's just a horror visual novel, basically. I found out about it because Manly Badass Hero, a YouTuber I watch, plays like pretty much almost exclusively games from like Itch.io and stuff. And this was one of them that I saw him play, and I'm like, that looks cool.
Every breath I took was harder than the last.
Yeah, because you're dying.
There was no one else in these woods. There was no one around to help. What about you? You, in quotes. I was going to die here. Next to me, I could see you coughing up blood. Your arms were embedded with broken glass.
Yeah, sometimes. Markiplier plays games like this. Just Manly
Hmm.
plays games that I do not see like anybody else play, or he plays them, and then a few months later I might see some other YouTuber I watch play them. But mostly it's just very obscure shit and like game jam games and stuff.
I asked you why you did it. There was no point, after all. Now we were both going to die, with no one around to find our bodies.
Gotta feed the bears.
You gave me a wry smile as my vision faded to black. You spoke, with a voice like gravel and serrated teeth. You told me that you couldn't help it.
That's why you watch out for hitchhikers.
It was in your nature. Damn.
And one, nature.
Okay.
Dots. Let me tell you a story.
Is this you or is this me?
It's the guy driving.
Okay. My name's not important. Never liked it much anyway. I was driving that night to visit a friend on the other side of the mountains. I'd never met them in person before, but they needed my help. That was all that mattered. This place really was out in the middle of nowhere, though. Not a sign of civilization to be seen. I was messing around with the radio when I saw you. A scrawny thing in dirty clothes, sticking your thumb out. So I...
And now we got options. Well, we gradually start getting
more.
options.
Okay.
I decide
So
to
I guess
stop.
I decided to stop. So I decided to stop. What the hell, you know? I felt bad for you. Maybe you really needed the help. I don't think I could have lived with myself if I abandoned someone in a bad spot. So I flashed my headlights and pulled over beside you. As soon as I got out of the car, I could tell I made the right call.
As we go through this, you'll see why the clock on the starting screen make more sense.
You looked like shit. The knees of your parents were all scuffed and your whole body was smudged with dirt.
Pants!
Pants. You needed help, badly. Hey, you alright? Where are you headed? You looked at me with blank stare, as if I was saying nothing but meaningless noise. I sighed and took a step forward. You eyed me warily. Look, you need a ride, right? If I'm taking you somewhere, then can you at least give me a direction? You seemed to consider this for a while. You ran your fingernails up and down your arms as if you were scratching at something. After a bit, you finally looked at me in the eyes.
Is there a town nearby?
I could tell just by listening to you that you desperately needed a drink. Unfortunately, I didn't think the half-empty soda sitting in my cup holder would cut it.
I mean, if you're really thirsty, it doesn't matter what you fucking give them. They'll happily chug that shit down.
Nearby? Not for a while yet. But there should be a gas station at the next exit, about a 20-minute drive or so. You chewed your lip in silence. Do you want me to take you there? You nodded, slowly.
Please.
So I stepped back towards the car and opened the door to the...
Passenger or backseat?
Guess passenger side. So I opened the door to the passenger side. You seemed harmless enough, and there was no point in being rude.
Dots.
You didn't move. Everything okay?
Dots.
More dots.
More dots.
Still nothing. I figured you were just nervous. I didn't blame you. This was a pretty weird situation.
It's also just a smart thing to be weary of strangers, especially in the middle of the nowhere.
Why are you hitchhiking? Then noticed you were mumbling something under your breath.
I mean, if you're desperate, you'll do what you have to. Not the...
Hey, no worries if it's too much, okay? If you want, I can always call a police station nearby and...
I didn't click, it just automatically does that.
Okay.
No.
A refusal so quick, I had to take a second to even register it. You sure?
Dots.
Must have struck a nerve. Without another word, you brushed past me and slid inside. I tried to give your shoulder a reassuring pat as you got in. As reassuring as I could manage, anyway. You almost hit your head on the roof when my hand made contact. Oof.
Jumpy.
Mm-hmm. Hey.
What?
Seatbelt. And no response. I glanced over my shoulder and pointed at the belt buckle. Put it on. I'm not moving this car until you do. You blinked at me, slowly, before pulling on the seatbelt. You examined it like it was a foreign object as you crossed it over your waist and hooked it into the buckle. With a sigh, I turned back towards the wheel and started up the engine.
From vroom.
The radio still wasn't working. It was really starting to piss me off. I guess there wasn't much signal that far out.
Not in the middle of the woods now.
And all the while, you hardly made a sound. It was like you weren't even there. But you were. I checked, quiet as a corpse with your cheek pressed against the window. We drove for miles, endless stretches of the same road, the same trees, the same dark expanse. For all we knew, we could have been driving in place.
Yeah, on a treadmill.
Things started getting blurry. My eyelids were heavy from the weight of all the hours on the road. I didn't want to risk falling asleep at the wheel, so I went ahead and downed the last of my energy drink. It was long since flat. The sugar and gunk and artificial flavors all stuck to my teeth.
Gross.
Gross. I needed something more substantial to keep me awake. Music would have been fine, but the radio still refused to cooperate.
That's why you at least have some, like, I don't know, a CD player or a cassette tape or something.
What to do? Oh, right. As I heard you shuffling around in your seat, I realized that some friendly conversation could definitely keep me up. I hardly knew anything about you after all.
You were just
a
staticky, angry noise.
Total stranger. No harm in breaking the ice, right? So I glanced over towards you and spoke. Hey, so what are you...
Did you stab me again?
I managed to see your scalpel seconds before it went straight through my eye!
Ow.
Ooh! The next thing I knew, we were both crashing through the windshield.
How did you go through the windshield if you had your seatbelts on?
Right?
That's what seatbelts prevent you from doing.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they were just faulty and...
A tree.
They just broke as soon as there was the slightest amount of pressure,
Right?
because that can fucking happen too, but... That's highly unlikely.
Right? Or was it a boulder, maybe? I couldn't tell. As soon as my vision went red, the wheel slipped out of my fingers and we crashed straight into something.
Well, yeah, you just got stabbed in the eye.
My head was pounding. Yeah, the muck that was left of my eye leaked down my Ew!
Eyeball soup.
Eyeball soup leaking down my chin. The only thing that kept me from passing out was the pain. Needles prickled across my skin, cut with shattered bone and shrapnel.
Ow.
Every breath I took was harder than the last. There was no one else in these woods. There was no one around to help.
I'm gonna die here.
Next to me, I heard you yelp in pain. Through the blood, I saw your leg twisted in ways it never should be. This was the end for both of us. But instead of screaming, crying, begging for my life, all I could feel was anger. My mouth started moving before my thoughts could. What the fuck is wrong with you? Every word tasted like iron. That'd be the blood. Because of this, because of you, now we're both dead.
I'm gonna be eaten by bears.
Even with my sight melting away, I felt your eyes boring into me.
I mean, deers might come and lick your dead bodies too.
Is that. Is this what you wanted? Your head lolled to the side as you choked and gasped, wiping your mouth on your arm. The veins in your neck bulged. I could see them clearly now. I wanted to wrap my hands around your throat and squeeze more than I've wanted anything else in my entire life.
No.
Then why? I pounced on your response like a rabid animal. I had to know. I deserved to. I heard your nails scrape across the gravel, hair curtaining your face.
Who?
What? You cleared your throat and tried again. Your voice was thick with blood.
Whose fault is this? Answer me.
Whose fault?
Who is to blame for this ending? Dots.
The one to blame is
Me or you?
you. You, obviously. You stabbed me in the fucking eye. What possible? I'd gotten too heated. I had to take a second to wheeze, feeling my lungs sting. What possible reason could you have had?
None.
I stopped in my tracks, mouth hung open like a dead fish.
I mean, you're about to be a dead fish.
What?
There was no reason. No reason at all. Because it was not a reasonable thing to do.
Somehow, it felt like you were speaking much clearer all of a sudden. And I saw movement in your direction.
Is it a bear?
Were you standing up?
I did it because I am a bad person. That is all there is to it.
I couldn't keep the eye I had left open any longer, even as my mind raced. I felt someone, you, right next to me, a creeping heat that sent bumps up, running up my neck.
Because for people like me,
I heard the smile in your voice.
it's in my nature.
Ooh,
Oh, we got nature again.
creepy.
Who do you want to read for the red? Me or you?
Do you know which one who this is or no?
I do.
Okay. I'll read the red. You just never learn, do you?
It also helps because, you know, I'm dyslexic and reading makes me trip over my words.
Is it still?
I
me?
think it's still, yeah, me.
Okay. Maybe if I
Let me tell you a story. My name's not important, never liked it much anyway. Driving to go visit a friend. Never met this person before. They needed my help, that's all that mattered. Place was in the... Oh, I don't think this one's new.
This is the same as the last time.
Is it? No signs?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This one isn't,
This
though.
is new,
My
yeah.
windshield had gotten cracked somehow. No clue when that happened. It was no big deal. The car had already seen much better days, and one little crack wouldn't do any more harm. Even though I didn't remember having it. I was messing around with the radio when I saw you.
Scrawny thing in
Scrawny
dirty
thing.
clothes. So I
kept driving. So I kept right on driving. Like hell I was falling for that. Stranger out here in the middle of bumfuck nowhere asking for a lift? Are you kidding? Call me superstitious, but that sounded like the beginning of a ghost story. And I sure as hell wasn't planning on dying anytime soon. I still felt your eyes on me as I sped past you, all the way down the road.
Dots.
I never saw you again.
Is that an ending? Yep. And 5. Common sense.
Thank God.
This is
I
one of those
wouldn't
games that it starts over again a lot, and it gradually adds more to the story.
this time.
Let me tell you a
Let me.
story. Name's
My
not
name.
important. Driving to visit a friend, never met them in person. Middle of nowhere. Windshield had
This.
gotten cracked somehow. No big deal. Even though don't remember having it. Messing around with the radio when I saw you, scrawny thing in dirty clothes, so
I decided to stop.
yeah, because driving just gave us an ending.
Mm-hmm. What the hell, you know?
I felt bad
We're
for
bad for
you.
you.
Maybe you needed help. Was
Don't
this?
think I could. I don't think so. I don't think I could have lived with myself if I abandoned someone in a bad spot.
So I flashed my headlights, pulled over next to you.
This is. Yeah, as soon as I got out of the car, I could tell I made the right call. You looked like shit. Knees
Yeah,
of your pants were all
scuffed.
scuffed.
Needed
Needed
help
help
badly.
badly.
You alright? Where you
Ew.
headed? Blank stare. Step forward. You eyed me wearily.
Look, you need a ride, right? If I'm taking you somewhere, then can you at least give me a direction?
Oh, we've seen this one too.
Mm-hmm.
And your fingernails up your arm. Look me in the eye. Is there a town nearby? You need a drink. Half empty
Half.
soda. Not for a while. It's a gas station. Do you want me to take you there? Hello, person. Nodded. Please. Step towards the car.
I guess backseat this time.
Yeah, back seat, because last time you
So,
stabbed us in the eye.
so I opened the door to the back seat. Better safe than sorry. You stared at me for only a moment before climbing inside. Well, I guess the passenger seat scared him a lot more.
I can understand that because you're just like, both of them are incredibly on edge to
Hey,
begin with. What?
seatbelt.
Oh, this is
And no
response.
response.
Pointed at the seatbelt, but no, we're not moving until we do.
You rolled your eyes as you tugged on the seatbelt, as if we'd had this conversation before. With a sigh, I turned back towards the wheel and started up the engine.
Vroom vroom. Radio still wasn't working. Much signal out here. Hardly made a sound. Drove for miles, endless stretches of the road, in the dark expanse. For all we know, we were driving in place. Things started getting blurry, heavy eyelids.
Huh? The can was completely empty. Weird. I'd been so sure that I still had some left. When did I drink it? Had I forgotten somehow? I tried to shake the weird sense of deja vu from my head and keep my eyes on the road.
I know you're not very deep into the obnoxiousness that is anime, but there is a song called Deja Vu that I think it was from an anime called Initial D. And that's the only thing I can ever think about every time I hear the word deja vu now, because it goes, deja vu, I've just been in this place before. It's a good song, but it's one of those, like, brain can't associate it with anything else now.
Yeah. Still nothing from the back seat. I adjusted my rear view so I could get a look at what you were up to. I could barely see a thing.
Yeah, it's dark outside.
My throat closed up. What had I been thinking letting you into my car? I had no
Ow.
idea who you were, what you wanted, or what you were capable of.
We're capable of murder, clearly.
For
Apparently.
all I knew, you could be hiding my body in a highway ditch somewhere by the morning.
I tried to say
Not
apparently and clearly at the same time, so it came out clearly.
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 Clearly. You were just a total stranger. How far were we to somewhere safe? If something happened, would anyone come to help?
The bears would.
And as these thoughts swarmed my head,
Rustling.
I heard you moving around in the back seat. My chest felt tight as panic surged inside of me. I swore that I could feel your breath on my neck. Were you about to kill me?
I mean, you have like 3 times by now.
I had to do something. now. So I
Hit the brakes or spoke up?
uh hit the brakes. I couldn't take it anymore. I needed you out of my car now. Without hesitation or warning, I veered off towards the side of the road and hit the brakes. Except I didn't catch the tree in time. Oh shit.
Good job, you hit the tree. Well,
Well,
we're dead again. Death by tree.
I guess we know whose fault that was this time.
Yeah.
My legs weren't moving. My arms weren't either. My body didn't do anything that I told it to. Like in a dream or a nightmare. My head was pounding.
That's what happens when you hit a tree at full force.
All I could do was breathe, and that was getting harder by the second. It hurt, but eventually the pain all blended together like white noise. Dull. For a day. Needles prickled across my skin, cut with shattered bone and shrapnel. There was no one else in these woods. There was no one around.
I was gonna
the
die
hell,
here.
hiccups.
Managed to turn my head to see.
You lying in a crumpled heap. You were face down, blood pooling out from under your head. You weren't moving. This was the end for both of us. So I closed my eyes.
Good job, me. You killed us both.
You were going to get to kill me anyway. I just knew it somehow. A random stranger out in the middle of nowhere, all filthy, acting weird, and asking for a ride? Of course you had to be a killer. Or some kind of bad person, at least. Anyone else would have done the same. This was the only way things could have ended. I did what I had to do in self-defense. Really? Yeah, that was it. Self-defense.
Yeah, ramming a tree in self-defense.
Killing both of you in self-defense. My breath shook. I did what I had to do. Right?
Ending 2, self-defense.
It hurts.
Let me tell you a story. Name's not important. Driving to go meet a friend. Never met them before. Out in the middle of nowhere. Windshield was cracked. No big deal, the car was old anyway, even though I don't remember having it. Messing around with the radio, saw you, scrawny dirty thing. Well, I guess we have to stop again.
Yeah.
Decided to stop. What the hell, you know? Felt bad.
I mean, it's possible
Flashed
that
headlights.
keep driving might have had a different ending as it progresses, but probably not.
All scuffed up. Blood trickling out of your nose. That's new, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where are you headed? Looked at me with a blank stare. Took a step forward. Like you need a ride, right? If you need somewhere to take me a direction. After a bit, you finally looked me in the eyes. Is there a town nearby? It sounded like you desperately needed a drink. Not for a while. It's a gas station.
Do you want me to take you there? You nodded slowly, please. Push her back toward the car. Open the door to the... What's the passenger side again?
Passenger side. Harmless enough. Dots. Didn't
move.
move. Everything okay? A lot of dots. Still nothing. Figured you were nervous. Noticed you something mumbling under your breath. Don't worry too much, okay? Are you sure? Must have struck a nerve. Tried to give your shoulder a pat, and you hit your head on the roof. Seatbelt. Put it on and not moving, like we had this conversation before. Turned on the engine. Radio still wasn't working, starting to piss me off. Wasn't much signal for around. Hardly made a sound. But you were. I checked, quiet as a corpse. Drove for miles. All I knew would be driving in place. Things started getting blurry. Heavy eyelids. Huh? Can was empty. Thought I had some left. Did I drink it? Had I forgotten? Deja vu. Like I've been in this place before.
Are you staring at me out of the corner of my eye? But as soon as I noticed, you turned back towards the window. I needed something more substantial to keep me awake. Music would have been fine, but the radio still refused to
What to
cooperate. What to
do?
do?
Yeah, shuffling. Oh,
Oh,
right.
right.
Heard you shuffling in your seat. Friendly conversation. Hardly knew you. Total stranger. No harm breaking the ice, right? Did you
Hey.
stab us in the eye again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that wound up just with the exact same
Yeah, just
ending.
slightly different flavor text in some points.
Yeah, anger. You start.
But there is one choice at the end of this one, I think.
Was there?
I think, is this the one where it asks whose fault this really is?
I think so.
Yeah. Whose
Whose
fault
fault
is
is
this?
this? Whose fault?
And I'm gonna do me this time.
Dots.
Clarity struck me then, almost as quickly as the anger had. As ridiculous as it sounded, as much as I barely believed it myself. Me.
Pardon?
You sounded just as surprised as I felt. But the longer I thought about it, the more it made sense. If I hadn't stopped, if I hadn't picked you up or given you a lift, then this wouldn't have happened. Something squeezed down on my chest. I couldn't tell if it was from the impact or something else.
Someone pooping on you. How do you figure?
Somehow, it felt like you were speaking much clearer all of a sudden. But I didn't dwell on it for too long.
Yeah, because you're dying.
I should have known better. Don't trust strangers and all that, right? I wanted to laugh, but it hurt too much to even try. So I should have known better. Someone like you. How else could this have ended? All that frustration, all that blind anger and desperation and bitterness that I had felt. All I could feel now was regret. Regret that it had to end this way. I didn't realize how much time had passed until you spoke again.
It's not your fault.
What? I craned my neck as best as I could to catch a glimpse of you out of the eye I had left. It looked like movement from where you'd been. Like you were standing up or something. But that was impossible, right?
You couldn't help it.
You spoke so softly, as if you were trying to comfort me. Something pressed against my hair. Something warm. Like someone was petting my head. You sighed.
You just couldn't help it. Because it's in your nature. So it's another nature ending.
Verse.
Bitterness.
Bitterness. Oof.
So I think we have to...
We have to...
Again.
Again.
Let me tell you a story. Name's not important. So this time, we gotta have him go in the back seat. Gotta stop.
And, yeah. Back seat and then...
This time, not
instead
slam on
of-
the brakes.
Yeah. Talk.
Because that made us hit a tree. Ba, 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 ba. Back seat.
Back seat.
You get your ass back there. Scrawny, dirty shit. You murderous, dirty, scrawny shit. Yeah, clicking.
Huh?
Empty can. Sadness. What was I thinking letting you in my car? I didn't know what you were
Freaking
capable
out.
of.
The
Being a
anxiety
body in the
setting
ditch, you were a total stranger. Yeah, rustling. Were you about to kill me? I had to do something, so I spoke
Spoke
up.
up. My mouth suddenly felt very dry. With a deep breath, I spoke. What do you think you're doing? And almost as soon as the words left my mouth,
That was a noise. Oh,
your arms wrapped around
hold
my
on.
chest from behind, and something cold and sharp pressed against my neck.
Hold on a minute.
Okay. Everybody watching the stream, just take in the beauty of this sight here. The eyeball, wide and staring. The scalpel pressed against the neck.
But, sorry. Ah! Chair! I am merely taking precautionary measures.
I gripped the steering wheel like it was my last chance. Blood roared in my head. One flinch, one speed bump. That's all it would take for the stranger to slit my throat. As I swallowed, my skin sank a bit deeper into the blade.
Well, don't do that then.
How so?
Simple. You could stop the car and kill me at any time, or drop me up somewhere to rot in captivity. If you wished, you could even crash this car and watch me burn, safe behind an airbag. I mean, no.
That's not what happened.
That is not what happened the several times we have actually crashed this car.
Now it didn't seem like the best time to mention that I took the airbags out of this thing years ago.
Wah, wah. But this way you cannot kill me without killing yourself, and in turn, I cannot kill you without killing myself either.
Then why have you killed them so many times?
Thus we are even. Does that make sense?
You waited for an answer.
It doesn't make sense
any
at all, or
at
you have a
point? That doesn't make... I couldn't help it. My temper flared. Like hell that makes sense. The fuck are you even talking about? Why would I do something like that right after stopping to help you out? Not to mention risk getting killed myself. I was just trying to show you a bit of kindness, that's all. I took a second to catch my breath. I wasn't even sure where all of that came from. You were waiting patiently for me to finish. After a few moments, you spoke again.
Kindness, you say?
Yeah. Heard of it? You ever consider that maybe, just maybe, all I wanted was to be nice? And a fat lot of good that did me. Now you're threatening to kill me for it. I felt your fingers wrap against my shoulder in a steady rhythm. You took a while to respond this time.
We are strangers, are we not? Strangers who have absolutely no reason to trust each other. Such is why you led me to this seat rather than the one beside you. You did not trust me enough to be close to you. Yes, every time we let you in the front seat, you stabbed us in the eye. It was a wise decision. I would have done the same. And yet, despite being total strangers, you offered to drive me out of the forest. Now, why might that be? You had no way of knowing that I possessed a blade, no indication that I could possibly be a threat to you. For all that you could tell, I was completely and utterly defenseless. And even now, I cannot hope to kill you without killing myself as well.
You leaned forward. Your lips ghosted right against my ear.
From the very beginning, I have been at your mercy. Now, is this what you call kindness?
I couldn't bring myself to speak. You clicked your tongue.
Well then, if so, are you gonna slit our throat and kill us both then? You're as bad as I am, then, aren't you? That feels, yep, kinship.
Kinship. Alright.
Fun! One more time. What does auto do? Yeah, I was hoping it would just, like, let us go through the parts we've read before. Decided to stop.
Stop.
Blah 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 blah. Yeah, clicking. Backseat.
Backseat.
Still no radio, no noise. Getting bored. Sleepy. Huh? Can was empty. When did I drink that? You've only managed to be able to drink that once and you said it was gross. It even sounded gross. So I spoke up.
Spoke up.
Oh, wait, that was a bad choice, wasn't it?
No.
Oh, right, no, we have to do this, that's right.
Yeah, because there's another... When he asks, does it make sense? Or when you ask, does it make sense?
That's where even does that make sense? Waited for an answer.
You have
a
a point.
point.
I racked my brain for any good answers and I came up empty. I couldn't really argue with that, now could I? I sighed, trying not to think about how close I was to dying at any moment as I drove. I admit it. You do have a point there, but, what happens when we make it to the gas station?
Hmm.
You know, what's keeping you from killing me as soon as I stop the car? You huffed.
I have no reason to. All I need is the ride.
Sure, I guess. But why should I believe that? You're already threatening to kill me and all.
You would just have to trust me.
Trust you, huh? Well, we're strangers, yeah? For some reason, you snorted as if I'd said something funny.
Milk. Okay. That is correct.
And I don't know a thing about you. Trusting you is a pretty big ask. So, can I really afford to do that? If I stopped this car, I'd be throwing away the only leverage I have against you right now.
Then, by the same logic, if I take away this blade, I would be making the same foolish mistake. Yeah, tension!
We sat there in silence. I guess we're at a standstill then, aren't we? Your fingernails dug into my shoulders, the scalpel nicking at my skin.
I suppose we are. Stand still. Let's see.
Are you looking up the endings?
No, I'm putting in someone in timeout because they're being fucking obnoxious. They're just coming in here. All they put was milk and Sans X Shrek, and I'm just like, okay, you're just being annoying. Get the fuck out of here. Fucking 12-year-old. Actually, 12 is more mature than that. Maybe if I... Now we go back through all this again.
What if the person on the side of the road is their friend, but they
Decided
didn't know
to
that?
stop. Oh, the twist is interesting. Now we gotta get through all this again. Options. Oh, we can turn up the text speed. Should we make the text speed? Not really, it doesn't fucking matter. I have no problem timing people out if they're gonna be obnoxious in my chat. If you're not gonna contribute anything to me to reply to, then you can just, like, go fuck off for all I care. I should make you a moderator at some point.
Me?
Yeah. Or butt cracking.
Sure.
Why not both?
Both?
Yeah, why not both?
Both is good.
Both is good. Fun fact, I've actually never seen that movie.
Really?
Yeah. Don't know how I've never managed to. I've just never managed to.
So, how do we get to a different ending from here?
It might give us a new choice. You have a point. Or we have to go down some roads we went down before. All I need is a ride, sure. Trust you, huh? Well, we're strangers, yeah? If I stop this car... Sat in silence. We're at a standstill then, aren't we?
Oh, I think it's the same ending. We could try...
Oh, it is. Oh, red text.
Oh, you just never learn, do you?
Well then. I wonder if that's gonna give us some new, opening text. Again. Roll back.
Roll back. Again. Oh. Okay. Again. As many times as it takes. No matter how long, no matter how far, no matter how much I had to suffer.
I think this is
actually...
actually...
you?
Yeah, I think
A
it's
different
changed
character?
perspectives.
Okay, so this is you then.
No matter how many times I rolled back. Because I needed to keep going. Yeah, it's changed perspectives now. Now it's on the perspective of you. Because I needed to keep running. Because I needed to escape this endless cycle. There, first oak, second bend on the left. So the only way from here was... run, I guess. That's alright. Stop dying, Beryl. Forward. My shoes were thinning at this point. The soles couldn't take much more of the same rocks, the same twigs, the same scattered debris. Just one of the things I had to let stick around each time, as obnoxious as it was. If I had wasted my energy rolling back every single little detail, I'd be dead by now. It wasn't worth it. So I settled for letting a few things slip through the cracks. I didn't have much stamina left as it was. Exhaustion weighed at my every step, leaving me lagging behind. Already 2.5 seconds slower to this landmark, I was running out of time. Third bend, second stump. Only one option. It's still running, so I kept running. So long as I kept moving, as long as I kept running, I'd make it eventually, right? Even if all I was doing was running in place. My lungs burned. I couldn't outrun her forever.
Ooh.
I knew that much. I'm not stupid. But I didn't have much of a choice anymore. If I got too far for her liking, she'd pull on my reins and drag me all the way back, kicking and screaming. Not this time. This time I'd make it. Whenever this time would actually be. My muscles screamed, my breath sharp, stinging. I bit down on my arm. It kept me going, distracted from the ache, by giving me more ache. Pain's like an itch that way. If you ignore it, it would only get worse. Scratch it and you get a relief, if only for a little while. Next bend, 8th stump. That running is not much of a choice, man. Yeah, that was it. Keep running, keep surviving. Make it across the road and... Did we get run over this time? We got hit by a car. No. No. Not again. Not again. Shit. How could I have been so stupid? The road. I had to wait for the car on the road. I could almost hear his voice then, muffled, distant, as he stumbled out of his car towards what was left of my body. But with the blood clogging my ears, his words were lost on me. I felt his grip on my shoulders, trying to shake me awake. Not that it mattered what he said anyway. There was no chance I'd settle for this ending. Even if my body was broken and bleeding, I could just roll back and everything would settle back into place again. It was like it never happened at all. So I willed myself to roll back again. Yeah, here we go. Just like that. I watched the world retreat through time like a knot coming undone. And then he melted back into the safety of his car, everything as it should be. Huh? What was that? That didn't happen last time, right? Just a hitch, maybe? Oh. I was back here. I definitely hadn't been found, not that quickly. Shaking someone who get hit by a car seemed like a poor idea. Yeah, because, if they're not dead, you could easily have killed them just doing that. This was a different type of hitch, then. Punishment for rolling back too much, I suppose. Bargained too much with the past, and eventually the past comes to collect. If I waited, I'd eventually end up where I was supposed to be. But that meant dealing with her. Even in my own memories, her presence put me on edge. I sat at the edge of my old cot and her on a folding chair across the room. Then this was one of our sessions together, way back when.
Again, number 8. I know you can do better this time.
Training sessions, that is. My vision throbbed behind my skull, my nostrils thick with the stench of copper. Blood. My nose is bleeding again. I decided not to deviate from the script. I can't. It hurts. My voice was small, so fragile and useless. Useless! I sounded like a child and I hated it. I wanted to tear that weakness right out of my throat.
No, I know. I know it hurts. But you need to try again, okay, number 8? Just one more time, and then you can rest as long as you'd like.
Are you telling me you're gonna kill me then? Really? My blood boiled. Do you promise?
I promise.
Bullshit! Liar. Hold on, drink. Liar, liar, liar.
Now, one more time. Find out what's on the other side of this card. And then roll back and tell me what it is before I show it to you. Do you understand?
My nails dug into my arms as she spoke. Yes, ma'am. Run or hide?
Hide.
The car would be passing on the road any second. If I ran, I'd get hit. So I caught myself on a nearby tree and crouched into the brush. Are we gonna sneak up on a cottage and find actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf? Oh no, first we find a bear trap, that's right. But I always came to the same inevitable conclusion. I couldn't keep going like this. My leg hurt, my stomach groaned, my eyelids begged for rest, my fucking ear itches. I knew how this worked. I'd seen the movies. The movies I was allowed to watch in any case. I crept towards the side of the road and stuck my thumb out just like I remembered. But in the movies, someone always winds up dead in the end, right? What kind of movies have you been watching? They don't all wind up like that. Depends on the the genre.
Dude, right?
I didn't know what other choice I had.
They're just fucking movies, dude.
My scalpel hung heavy against my thigh. The one thing I'd been able to take with me, the one thing that kept me alive. There had to be a better ending to this. There had to be.
Just don't fucking just sit in the back and wait. God.
I wasn't going to give up, no matter what it took. So he flashed his headlights, pulled over right alongside me. As soon as he came out of the car, I knew something wasn't right. He was too quick about it, too eager. The door shut just a little
Uh,
too loudly. I just knew. He must have remembered. He remembered, and he was angry, and he was about to hurt me and kill me and send me back and leave me to rot, and then he stepped forward. Close. Too close. He was too close. Close enough to grab, close enough to choke, close enough to kill. Close enough to hold and squeeze and sigh and whisper and tell me how much he didn't really mean it. Close enough to... Stab! My scalpel sank into his side. It gave so easily, like dough parting around my finger. But it wasn't enough. He pinned me to the ground. My scalpel was still inside him, but this time it hadn't been fatal. He twisted my arm behind my back, further, further, further. I heard something snap. I screamed into the dirt, tears biting at the edges of my eyes as my arm went limp in his grasp. All the hurts, make it stop! Please make it stop! Hissing through my teeth, I squeezed my eyes shut. Well, don't just go up and stab people, dude.
how about back up this time? Like, don't let him get close. Back up if he gets too close.
Yeah, because
God.
if they're a sensible person, they'll get the idea of like, oh,
Oh, you don't
okay,
want me to. Yeah, you're
they're
skittish.
not, they're skittish. It's yeah. I had to go back. I had to. I couldn't let it end like this. I knew it was scary. I knew it would hurt to feel it break again, but I didn't have a choice. Not anymore. All it had, all it would take was a quick rewind. I had to go back. I had to. I couldn't let it end like this. Oh. Further, keep going. I need to go back. Further, further, keep going. If I keep going, I can stop this before it happens. Just keep going even if it hurts, even if the pain is absolutely unbearable. It took every ounce of me to stay focused as I lived through that pain all over again. Shit, just a little further and I'd be free. Now he'll pin me to the ground and... Again? But why? Was I really running that low? She warned me once, said that if I rolled back too much, I'd tear myself apart, but part of me hoped it was just another one of her lies. In that case, I knew I had to do whatever I could to find my better ending as quickly as possible, no matter the cost. I took a deep breath and waited for the memory to end. No, not this one. Anything but this one. I was trying to hide underneath my cot, but there was no point. She saw everything. I hugged my knees to my chest as the door burst open. I heard her heels when she walked in. 2 sets of boots followed her, security guards. I tried to be quiet. I tried to be still. I tried to be invisible. But it didn't work, of course. I always wound up back here, right back in this horrible limbo. A cycle that never ends. What are you doing?
Just trash.
Okay. I was just like, all of a
Sorry.
sudden, lots of shuffling.
I'm about ready to stab you with my scalpel, clearly.
No, I'm the one who stabs.
That's true.
You're the one who crashes into things and kills us both.
That's true.
The guards pulled me out from under my cot by my ankles, and then slammed me against the wall, my arms pinned. I struggled. I squirmed a bit and screamed and kicked. Nothing worked. She stood between them, her eyes boring into mine. I couldn't look
Some
away.
creepy-ass eyes.
Yeah? As I tried.
You know why you're in trouble, don't you, number 8?
I bit my tongue as I kept myself from answering on impulse.
I think you do. I heard that you tried to run away again last night, number 8. The boys told me that you were quite the troublemaker, that you injured 3 of them when they brought you back home. They say you even roped a civilian into your antics. Apparently, you convinced some poor old woman to hide you from us. Is this all true, number 8?
Did you kill the old lady? I tasted copper again. It's your fault.
Oh?
You killed her. She was only trying to help and you killed her for it. Yeah, I'm not
Hmm.
surprised they killed the old lady. I was kind of expecting
Right?
that.
Is that right? Yet, you're perfectly aware of what we're capable of, are you not? You know how much I care about you. And you know how far we'd go to bring you back safely to us.
Dots.
Yet, even so, knowing all of this, you still put that woman in harm's way. This woman you believe to be so innocent. Did you ever consider her safety, number eight? Or were you content to use her for your own selfish ends? Wow, this is some manipulative bullshit.
Yeah, I know, right? Stop it.
We didn't kill her, number eight. You did. Oh,
Oof.
the
She
oof.
cupped my chin, thumb stroking my cheek.
You're not a good person, number eight. You never have been. You're a weapon, a tool, a killer, and nothing more. Don't forget it. It's in your nature. The woman you met knew that. That's why we found chloroform in her coat pocket. I
I,
didn't want to hear this anymore. I'm the only one who loves you for what you are, number eight. Not who you are, but what you are.
I didn't want to be here anymore.
You know better now than to try and leave me again, don't you?
No more, no more, no more.
Don't you, number eight?
Begone, bitch!
How
No more.
did they get a selfie of me for the game?
Dots. Breathe. I was out. Back to before he left the car. But that was fine. I'd remember something important. I remembered what I had felt so wrong. What? I remembered what had felt so wrong last time. Dyslexia! I focused, trying to collect my thoughts. He was just you. I was
Huh?
switching perspectives again. You came out of the car right on schedule, but something was still off. Well, that's what, the me looks like. Or what
Yeah.
you look like. That smile of yours. Usually it was the first thing I saw. The last, too, sometimes. But this time, it was nowhere to be found. As much as it put me on edge, seeing you without it somehow felt even worse.
Hey, you alright? Where are you headed?
Like clockwork, the same words, the same cadence, the same ending. What could I do to make things end differently this time?
Keep the scalpel put away.
I was resisting not only what fate had in store for me, not only whatever your intentions were, but in the end,
Hmm.
my very own nature. What do you do when you're the one stacking the odds against yourself? You step closer. But I expect it this time, not that it helps. My throat closes up as you approach, and an involuntary response, survival instincts.
Look, you need a ride, right?
So round and round it goes.
If I'm taking you somewhere, then can you at least give me a direction?
Anywhere but here. But I knew I couldn't say that. I couldn't give too much away. I picked at the bite mark on my arm, forcing myself to breathe again. Deep breaths. Focus. Do better this time. I met your gaze head on and willed my voice to stay even, stable. Stick to the script. Is there a town nearby? And there was that smile. Almost as soon as the words left my mouth, your expression shifted. I could never get a read on you, no matter how many times I rolled back.
Nearby? Not for a while yet, I don't think.
I tapped a finger on the side of my palm, trying to be patient. Next it was, but there should be a.
But there should be a gas station at the next exit, about a 20-minute drive or so.
I sank my teeth into my lip. Only minor deviances so far. Would it be enough?
Do you want me to take you there?
Nod or shake head?
Shake head. Let's try
No.
that. I shook my head. Little
Look,
things. Anything. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
that's okay. You're just like, I was so used to reading in the first half, not gonna lie. Anything that could possibly make a difference.
No offense, buddy, but you're the one that flagged me down in the first place, aren't you? I can't just leave you like this. At least let me get you set up at a motel or something.
Figures. Not much tended to change before I got in the car unless I did something drastic.
I insist.
How were you able to smile so freely like that? I'd never understand it.
Maybe lack of trauma.
Yeah, that's a lot of it, probably. Lead the way then. With a small nod, you turned back towards the car. I watched you closely, making sure you opened the right door. Back seat. Good. My shoulders relaxed, ever so slightly. I didn't like it when you were too friendly, too trusting, made me nervous.
God.
Had to burp.
You're fine. I'm just like, I want rollback to just chill.
Can't chill. Too much trauma.
I get, yeah, I mean, that's fair.
I am a spring that has been wound too tight. And you're just like
Valid.
a slinky that's been completely stretched out to where the point you're not slinky anymore. You're just this wobbly, like, thread of metal. I'd already seen a lifetime's worth of you, but even so, I couldn't risk trusting you back. I had no idea who you really were after all.
You coming?
Moment of truth. My scalpel felt cold, pressing against my skin as I climbed inside. If it's still against you at this point, it shouldn't be cold anymore.
Just
Just
don't
saying.
use the scalpel.
Smell wasn't any better this time
What?
around. Like the bottom of
Oh.
an old ashtray.
Okay. Hey,
My brow furrowed. What?
seatbelt.
Oh, right. For some reason, it slipped my mind every single time. Hard to think about road safety when you know that you could send this car hurtling into the next tree at any moment. No seatbelt wasn't going to help me there. Apparently not.
Put it on. I'm not moving this car until you do.
Because every time we hit
Well-
something, we catapult out through the fucking windshield.
And apparently, they didn't realize that there's no airbags either, despite the fact that they're.
Oh no, the driver knew there was no airbags.
No. But rollback doesn't realize, because even after all these times, the rollback still is like, "Ooh, you could be safe behind your airbags." It's like there are no airbags.
Whatever. I crossed it over my chest and tugged it into the buckle without any word. One time, back when I still wasn't sure what to do, I even asked you what seatbelts were for. You started asking me a whole lot of questions after that, ones I didn't like too much. It didn't end well. Well, yeah, if somebody that looks totally normal, just like they're in trouble, and they're just like, what's a seatbelt for? You'd go,
Something
what?
bigger is going on here.
Yeah, you just be like, how the fuck do you not know what a seatbelt is for? Like, even if you're just some country kid.
Yeah, I immediately would think of like somebody escaped from a secret, like somebody escaped from like a
Boy,
kidnapper
you
or
sus, are
something.
you okay? Or are you just insane? Now I'm more concerned.
I would think they were somebody who escaped from like a cult or kidnapping or something.
Who knows?
I've watched a lot of true crime stuff, I guess.
That was about the time I'd realized that you couldn't know the truth, not even pieces of it. People didn't tend to take too well when they found a ticking time bomb in their cars. Well, yeah. People typically don't like finding ticking time bombs anywhere. Eternity gnawed at the edges of my mind, a limbo of my own making. Miles passed behind us, the same road, the same trees, the same dark expanse. My nails dug into my arms. It was like torture, waiting to see what this loop would have in store for me. Would we crash? Another threat, maybe? Would you try to turn me into the police? What was it that I had to do to get the right ending this time? How long would it take until I was free? How many times would my nature get the better of me? What was I doing wrong? Stabbing people! My eyes stung. You moved. You weren't supposed to do that. You only shifted into your seat like you were when you were suspicious of me. I glanced up and the drink was gone. Not right, not right, not right, not right at all. I'd left that hitch behind ages ago. More trouble than it was worth. So you were supposed to realize that it was empty when you picked it up to take a sip and then go back driving, like normal. But your cup holder was empty and it wasn't right. Not right at all. So is the can gone this time?
Yeah, I think so.
Had you realized? Did I get something wrong? Did I make it too obvious? Had I left too many hitches behind? Did you remember everything? Were you just playing along so you could get me back into your car and find the right moment to kill me? Or send me back to her? How much longer? How much longer until I died again? How much longer until they collared me and locked me away for good? How much longer until the windshield shattered into pieces across my chest? Okay, well, stop stabbing him. That's a big one right there. I understand you were a traumatized little rabbit, but if you just sit there, stay quiet, and, not threaten his life or stab him, maybe things will be okay.
Right? You see him pulling into a police station, then like roll back or whatever. Like just
Then you can stab him.
Yeah, right?
How much longer until...
Hey.
Oh god, you knew. My scalpel was in my hands already. I didn't remember how it got there.
So, I've been meaning to ask, what's got you hitchhiking like this anyway? What are you looking to find in town?
Were you taunting me? You had to know already. You had to.
Ugh.
You waited for my answer. What was I looking for? A better ending. I'm looking for a better ending. I knew there was one still out there for me. I knew it. All I had to do was find it, earn it. There was no way that everything I had been through was for nothing.
A better ending? Ending to what?
Life. Everything. I thumbed the edge of my scalpel. Don't cut yourself.
I don't think I catch your meaning.
You have no need to. It's none of your business. I heard you snort.
It kind of is. You're in my car, you know? You're not planning on doing something dangerous, are you?
The blade stung at my flesh. And if I was? I didn't wait for an answer. This path was already a lost cause. You must have figured it out already, but I wouldn't be so careless the next time. Before you realized what I truly was, before you lost control of the wheel, I drove my scalpel into the back of your seat. And I prepared myself to start again. A scalpel's not going to go far into that seat.
Right?
You might poke him. Is this really the ending that I want? No. I don't want it to end like this.
Then don't.
Where was I? All right. Oh, what?
Oh, this is me now? Okay. I was driving through the mountains that night to visit someone on the other side. A friend. Met him online a couple months ago. Never saw him in person, though, obviously.
Now we get back to, the other guy.
That would ruin the surprise, after all. I tapped my fingers against the steering wheel. This area was definitely rustic. Small town, small people, small problems. It made things easier. I didn't bother messing with the radio any further. It had long since given up the ghost. I ran my thumb over the cross of my neck, thinking, planning. And then I remembered something. Something important. It was something that had never happened before, but it was a memory nonetheless. Funny how that works, huh? And that's when I saw you. Scrawny thing in dirty clothes on the side of the road, sticking your thumb out. Someone who needed help. So
with
I...
quotes.
I decided to stop. We'll try that.
So I decided to stop.
Couldn't very well abandon you, could I? That strange little memory tugged at the back of my head. So I elected to compromise. I flashed my headlights and pulled over a little further down the road from you. I went straight to the trunk as I got out, grabbed some essentials from my bag. Phone, first aid, that sort of thing. Even if it was nothing, I figured there was no harm in being prepared.
Why is your phone better not been in your trunk this whole time? Because that's not a good place to keep it.
Right? What's that saying again? A stopped clock is right twice a day or something? I closed the trunk and started heading down in your direction. I got the chance to look at the stars as I walked. The sky was gorgeous that night. No light pollution or big ugly buildings to muck things up. I could see the stars the way that the Lord intended. It helped me think. I figured I could hang around this area for a while once I was done with my visit. The air could do me some good. When I got close enough, I waved you down to get your attention. You seemed nervous. I didn't blame you. Hands in my pockets, I approached you with a smile on my face. It just didn't feel right not to have one.
Yeah, stomping.
As soon as I saw you, I knew I'd made the right decision. You were a sorry sight, like you'd been wandering these woods for days. Alone, frightened, desperate. Poor thing. You needed help, badly. Hey, you alright? Where are you headed? No response. You didn't even look me in the eyes. Like you knew something that I didn't. I took a step forward. You didn't even flinch. Take as long as you need, okay? No rush. Just tell me when you're ready. Now that got your attention. You eyed me warily, as if looking for something. I wondered what you thought you would find. You need a ride, right? Just give me a direction and I can take you there. Still nothing. You looked like you were struggling with something. Only God knew what was going on in that head of yours. But I waited, patiently, as long as you needed. It's not like I was going much of anywhere. You ran your fingernails up and down your arms as if you were scratching at something. And then you finally met my gaze.
Is there a town nearby?
Your voice was parched from thirst. You sounded like you were 2 steps from passing out. No wonder you needed my help. Not for a while yet, unfortunately. I wasn't too keen on the idea of bringing someone who knew my face along with me during my visit. Besides, it wasn't really a lie. The Lord would forgive me. What? But there should be a gas station at the next exit, about a 20-minute drive or so. I could take you there if you like. Another pause. Something was really getting to you. Life would be so much easier if people were just open with their problems. Easier to help that way. But patience is a virtue. I knew I'd learn the truth eventually. I always did. That sounds slightly ominous.
Please.
So polite. The way you spoke made it sound like you were trying to impress somebody. Even though I knew you didn't have a lick of trust in me. Poor thing. My car's over there. You good for a short walk? Another nod. Not much hesitation this time. Were you already warming up to me? How cute. But not enough to walk ahead of me, I figured, so I took the lead as we made our way back.
You gonna stab me again?
I pressed a kiss to my cross when you weren't looking. Why? Why when they weren't looking, specifically?
Stomping!
Ah, the stars were still so lovely tonight. I almost got lost in them. The steady sound of your footsteps alongside mine kept me on track. I wondered if you realized how loudly you were breathing. How long until you decided to make the first move? How long until that distrust of yours got the better of you? I was ready to let it happen. I wanted you to have your moment. Patience, as always. We just made it to the car when you finally jumped me. pinned up against the door to the driver's seat with your scalpel at my neck. Well, that had been your plan anyway. But I had remembered something that had never happened before. And now, my fingers closed around your trembling wrist as you strained, trying so desperately to drive the blade into my flesh. You were too exhausted to use your full strength, so I watched you struggle in vain. What do you think you're doing? Your teeth ground against each other, so determined to see this through. Is that any way to repay a stranger's kindness? I tightened my grip, my nails digging into bone and fragile skin. You hissed, face scrunched up in pain. It was all the distraction I needed.
Noise.
The side of the car groaned as I slammed your weight into it. My hand was caught in fistfuls of your hair. You hung limply from my grasp like a doll. The scalpel slipped out from your fingertips. Your eye twitched where the side of your face had made impact. With a sigh, I tossed you back onto the ground. You struggled to sit up. I kicked the scalpel into the car. No time for silly things like that anymore. Ah, you were still trying to fight, teeth bared, pulling yourself up to your knees. We couldn't have that now, could we? So I pulled my gun out of my pocket and aimed it. What the fuck is going on? And aimed it right at your head. You froze, eyes wide as ever, like a deer in the headlights. Poor thing. You really hadn't expected this at all, had you? That's enough. Sit down. To my surprise, you complied rather quickly. Well, that's a gun to your head, I'll do that.
Yeah.
It's like all the fight in you just vanished. All it took was a little tough look. What is wrong? Okay, is this guy a conservative? There you go. Feeling better now? Your eyes stayed locked on the end of the barrel. Care to tell me why you decided to stab me in the back? I kept my voice even, gentle. No sense in losing my temper or anything. You swallowed. I could see your lip trembling. You glanced down at the ground beneath the car. Someone was getting ideas. I flicked the side of the gun with my other hand, finger still on the trigger. You jumped at the sound. Eyes up here, buddy. Let's try again, shall we? Why were you trying to kill me? You inhaled sharply.
Please.
Ah, so you'd finally found that voice of yours. What was that? I gestured with the end of the gun. Your chest rose and fell, shaking like a leaf.
Please. Please don't kill me.
You sounded like you were about to cry. But that didn't exactly answer my question, now did it? One more time. Think carefully, alright? Come on now. Answer the question. Patience is a virtue, but I had so little of it left. I can't exactly help those who refuse to be helped, can I? You didn't hold back this time. The words spilled out of you, ugly and messy and everywhere, like a manic confessional.
I don't know. I was just scared, and I...
Scared? I hummed. So then, you acted on instinct? You nodded furiously.
I couldn't help it, so I
made a sound.
I didn't hear it.
Sorry, the mic might not have picked it up. You went silent immediately. Just one more question for me. One more and I'll set you free. Your eyes widened. One more, okay? Think carefully. I tilted my head, meeting your eyes. Are you a bad person? You didn't respond. You want to go free, don't you? Answer me then. Are you a bad person? You stammer uselessly.
I don't know. I don't understand what you're...
You're not sure?
Dots. I think you are, you aren't, are you?
Let's go with you aren't, are you? You aren't, are you?
Question mark?
your brow furrowed. I smile. It's all right. I can tell. Bad people, they don't just come popping up out of the ground, you see. Evil is made, raised. The world just pushes and pushes and pushes, and sooner or later, you start to push back. Seems reasonable, doesn't it? You didn't say a word, but you didn't have to. So, how'd you get to this point? Just how far did this world push you? I crouched down to meet you at eye level, watching those eyes of yours start to water. You must have been through so much to think that this was your only option. But it never ends, does it? No matter how hard you try. No matter how hard you push back, you're always left with the pain, and it never ever leaves.
Eh.
Your tears streamed all the way down to your chin.
An endless cycle.
Exactly. Round and round it goes. A life like that, it's enough to break you. You must be exhausted. You nodded. There was such relief in your face. It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to go through all that anymore. I forgive you. The Lord always forgives. I wrapped an arm around your shoulder and you crumpled like a stack of cards. You fell into me with your fist balled up in my shirt, wet with tears and snot. I held you as long as you needed, kept you as close as I could. Deep breaths. You can rest now. You're free now. I closed my eyes, smiling against your neck. You'll never have to suffer again. You didn't even realize my gun until it was at your head until it was too late. God.
Complex.
Holy fuck.
But it continues to get worse.
Does it?
What are you? A little bit, yeah.
Where was I? Oh, right.
Visit
Driving
someone on the other
around.
side. A friend.
Friend. At this point, I'd been catfishing him for about 2 months, give or take. He didn't suspect a thing. Post the right pictures, say the right lines, and it's like watching moths to a flame. But whatever cozy little evening he had planned was the furthest thing from my mind. I tapped my fingers against the steering wheel. This area was definitely rustic. Small town, small people, small problems. It made things easier. I didn't bother messing with the radio any further. It had long since given up the ghost, ran my thumb over the cross of my neck, thinking, planning. And then I remembered something. Something important. Something that had never happened before, but it was memory nonetheless. Funny how that works, huh? That's when I saw you.
Scrawny. Someone who needed help,
help.
with quotes.
So I decided to stop.
Decided to stop. Couldn't well abandon you, could I? Strange memory tugged at my head, so I elected to compromise. Drove down the road from you. Phone, trunk, first aid. Oh, and my gun too, of course.
God gave predators claws for defending themselves with. Then God gave humans a sense of justice. Sorry, something in my mouth. And a Glock to see it through. There we go.
I don't think the ones that... I don't know about that, but okay.
So he seems like a religious serial killer is the vibe I'm getting from him. One of those, like, I'm helping people when I don't know. He's a little fucked up, apparently.
Yeah.
I slipped it into my coat pocket, safe and sound.
So now you found out which one is actually the bad person.
Right? It's not rollback. Not number 8. Even if it was nothing, I figured there was no harm in being prepared.
That I can understand. But, oh, you poor thing, I'm gonna make your suffering end now. Cool.
Right?
Good job.
I stopped Calakas right twice a day or whatever. Close the trunk. Head in your direction.
Gonna stare at the stars while I'm stomping!
The stars were beautiful.
No pollution, just like the Lord intended. I could hang around. Air was so good. Waved you for your attention. You seemed nervous. Hands in my pockets. A finger on my trigger. Approached you with a smile on my face. It didn't feel right to not have one. I knew I'd make the right decision. You were a sorry sight. Not to mention... Ah, that one's new. Oh.
A pretty nasty looking shiner to show for it. Now where'd you get something like that from? From you, obviously. Well, from me, but
Yeah, because he didn't have that black eye before.
nope. And how long had you been like this? Alone, frightened, desperate. Poor thing. You needed help badly.
You
You
alright? Where you
alright? Where you
headed? No
headed? No
response. Didn't look at
response.
me. Hold on.
This is quality content.
But.
Bit.
Meh. Eh. But. Anyway. Take as long as you need. No rush. That got your attention.
What everybody thought you would find. Need a ride. Direction.
Still nothing.
Struggling. Waited patiently as long as needed.
Finally met my gaze. Is there a town nearby? Sounded thirsty.
The Lord would forgive me, but there should be a gas station in the next exit. Excuse me.
Another pause. Life was so much easier if people would be open about their problems. So patience is a virtue. So polite. Poor thing. Car's over there.
You didn't move, frozen, like you weren't even alive. Had I gone and scared you already? Shame on me. Your eyes fell in my pocket, and for just a moment doubt crept through my head. But I let go of that weakness when you nodded, slinking back a few steps to give me a wide berth. I took the lead as we followed the road to the car, letting you trail behind me.
Yeah, he knows you got a gun now.
I pressed a kiss to my cross when you weren't looking. Stars, I'm sure.
Stomping!
Ah, the stars were still so lovely. Blah, 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 blah. I wondered if you realized how loudly you were breathing.
How long before you made the first move? Patience as always.
Pinned up against the door to the drive seat, scalp at your neck. Well, that had been your plan, but I remembered something. And now my fingers closed around your trembling wrist as you strained. You're too exhausted. What do you think you're doing? Teeth ground against each other.
Tighten my grip.
Was all the distraction I needed.
Weird
Slam
noise.
against the car.
Hair.
Tossed you back onto the ground. You struggled to sit up. Kicked the scalp under the car. Ah, you were still trying to fight.
Pulling yourself up your knees. Can't have that now, can we? Yeah, gun.
Yes, you had expected that, but that's okay. To my surprise, you complied rather quickly. It's like all the fighting you just vanished. All it took was a little tough love. There you go, feeling better.
Swallowed. Sad. Pay attention to the gun. Ba 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 ba.
Please don't kill me.
Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba.
You a bad person? You want to go free, don't you? Answer me then. Are you a bad person? You stammer uselessly.
I don't understand.
I think you are. I think you are.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Well,
One quick shot to the thigh. Nothing serious, mind you. Just enough to keep you from causing any more trouble.
I mean, if you hit the artery that's in the thigh, you could have killed. They can bleed out pretty
Yeah.
quick.
You yelped like a dog and collapsed, clutching your leg to your chest. Poor thing. Poor thing. But it's alright. I forgive you, you know? You sounded like you were trying to say something, but only the smallest whimper escaped your lips. Well, maybe not at the moment, but eventually I will. By the time I join you, all will be forgiven. Because he always forgives. I bent down to get a better look at you now that you were more reasonable. So sharp and scrawny, it was a wonder that the wind didn't knock you over. See, God sent me to take care of people like you, people who threaten the safety of his flock. People who don't bring nothing good into this world and leave all sorts of nasty stuff behind. I brushed your hair out of your eyes, my fingers trailing across the bruise on your cheek. You stared at me with such hatred in those eyes of yours. People like me, too. Give them a taste of their own medicine and whatnot. Karma, I think they call it.
Well, at least you admit that you're a bad person too. So.
Right? You spit in my face. I couldn't help but laugh. I know, I know. This all doesn't make much sense to you right now, does it? Usually, I try not to mix work and personal business. Makes things simpler that way. But even before I saw you flagging me down, I've been seeing things. Visions, maybe. I saw your eyes widening as I spoke. Things that hadn't happened yet. Things that weren't yet to be. Now, I don't fancy myself a prophet or nothing, but if the Lord's bending my ear, who am I to ignore him? And, well, buddy? I wrapped my fist around a lock of your hair and pulled you up to look at me properly. You'd gone pale as a sheet. I tucked the barrel under your chin and gave you a smile. God wants you dead.
Blat.
Oof. Karma.
N10, karma. Is the clock making more sense now?
This is how many times around it's gone, right?
I think so. It's just constantly changing back time. Constantly. Where was I? Oh, right. Driving through the mountains. A friend.
We lived a little while from my usual stomping ground, but I didn't mind it none. If I just stuck to the same places, people would start getting suspicious, start connecting the dots. Besides, there were only so many creeps and weirdos I could find on local dating sites. Branching out like this came with the job. The less people like him in the world, the better. I tapped my fingers against the steering wheel. This area was definitely rustic.
Made things easier. Didn't bother with the radio. I remembered something important, something I needed to do. Something had never happened before, but a memory nonetheless. Funny how that works, huh? Scrawny thing on the road. Someone who needed my help, so I... Do we want to see... Do you want to keep driving and see what happens?
Yeah, we'll keep driving and see what happens. So I kept right on driving. I didn't have the luxury of waiting. Someone was expecting me. Whatever I had seen, or rather what I thought I'd seen, I could handle it later. I still felt your eyes on me as I sped past you all the way down the road. I never saw you again. Is this common sense or a different ending?
Oh, no, common sense.
No,
okay, well. Just never learn.
Never learn, do you?
Yeah, I know, lady. Jesus.
Who are you? Alright. Assuming I played my cards right, he'd be expecting a teenage girl from the suburbs on his doorstep sometime tomorrow night. Gave me the time I needed to set up, scope out the area. Places like this are just teeming with bogs that folks don't do much searching through. If I made it clean, made it quick, I'd have a day or two to sightsee before his body's found and the jig is up. It'd be nice to spend some time outside the house for once. I missed stargazing. Tapped my fingers against the steering wheel. This area was definitely rustic. Small town, small people, blah blah blah. Didn't bother messing with the radio. Ran my thumb further across my neck thinking.
I remembered
something I needed to do. decided to stop. Had a job to do. I flashed my headlights, pulled over a little further down the road. Went straight to the trunk. And my gun. Time to get to work. Closed the trunk, started heading down in your direction. Got the chance to look at the stars.
Just stomping.
And slip my finger on the trigger. As soon as I saw you, I took out my gun and pulled the trigger. Oh, you were still standing. You clutched the side where the bullet hit, hissing through your teeth. Your knees shook as you fought to stay upright, blood soaking through your shirt. You definitely weren't going anywhere anytime soon, but it didn't feel right to just leave you there. Besides, I still had a job to do. I'd received the vision I did for a reason, down to the last detail. You had trapped me here too long already, watched me suffer and squirm underneath your thumb. But no longer. No more of this. Things like you weren't meant to exist.
Please, stop.
You clawed at my leg as I pressed the end of the gun to your forehead. You looked like you were in so much pain.
Blat?
So I granted you mercy.
Blat. No fucking hesitation this time. Break.
Break.
Well, the title's freaking out.
Yeah. Let me tell you a story. You needed help badly. That was the end for both of us. You know why you're in trouble, don't you, number 8? Are you a bad person?
Thus you and I are even. Does that make sense?
I insist. No. No.
No.
This is you.
Where was I? And when was this? The 7th loop? The 18th? The car crashed. That was obvious. Was this the one where I stabbed you first, or the one where I tried to threaten you? I couldn't remember, or... Wait. Why couldn't I roll back past this point? It wasn't working. Was I stuck again? Was this a memory? Some new kind of hitch? Or did I finally reach the end? So then, this was it, my final loop. The only ending I had left, and I couldn't even remember which one it was. After all this time, fate won out. My only option was to give up. Something was moving? A sound off to my left. Oh, look, we're holding hands. Oh, it must have been you. I guess you'd survived the impact this time. Were you still conscious? Then all I could do now was... Look. How fucked up are you, sir? I was alive? Oh, I think that's you now?
Oh, it is. Just barely. My breath was slow, uneven. My cross dangled loosely from my neck. Even without looking up, I already knew what had happened. My car crashed. We survived, but not enough to save ourselves. It was a miracle that we were still breathing at all. And you... Somehow, I knew you were connected to all of this. The memories of things that hadn't happened yet, the weird sense of deja vu every time I looked you in the eyes, little coincidences and oddities that kept on piling up, and how I knew we'd been through this before. That we'd died before. even though it seemed so impossible. But we already had one miracle under our belt. What was one more? Your eyes bored into mine, red and bloodshot and weepy. If this was how things were gonna end anyway, then I didn't have much else to lose. Boy, the sound was more of a croak than anything else, like I hadn't had a drink in weeks. I nudged your hand with my own, trying to get your attention. Those eyes of yours, I could never tell if you were actually looking at me or just straight through me. For all I knew, you kept the damn things open while you slept. Certainly wouldn't be the weirdest thing about you. You blinked, owl-like, mouth hung open in that way you do when you're off in your own little world. I shifted in place, flicking your wrist. Hey, Earth to Poindexter, you still with me?
No, brain dabblage.
Now that got your attention. You jolted as soon as my nail hit skin. I never realized just how many scars you had on your hands alone. Were some of those bite marks?
I'm conscious.
I noticed. Not sure how long we have left, though.
Indeed.
You looked away. Never a good sign. So I think I ought to know the truth before I kick the bucket.
How do you mean?
Cut the crap. You're not nearly as good a liar as you think you are. You huffed.
Oh, huffy pout.
So tell me what's really going on here, at the very least, so I know who to blame for it.
It is not that simple.
Most things in life aren't. Tell me anyway. You took your time, rolling your lip between your teeth.
You're correct. You deserve to know. Yet, even so...
You swallowed. For some reason, you looked real small all of a sudden.
Even so, could you do something for me in return?
I glanced up. Look.
Are we switching yeah, we're switching perspectives again. That's interesting how they do that, where whoever's talking, they switch colors. A look of absolute bewilderment crossed your face. I didn't blame you. I had already done so much, and to ask yet another thing of you was nothing short of selfish, to say the least. I wouldn't forgive me either.
I mean, it depends. Within reason, obviously.
It was already more than enough. It is nothing major. My gaze fell upon your hand where it was touching mine, calluses and rough skin hidden underneath a worn leather glove, the hand of a worker. How little I knew about you even now. I am not the best at telling stories. Speaking in general is difficult. But I do enjoy listening to them. So, once I'm finished, could you tell me a story as well? Immature, selfish, stupid. A request that was everything I hated to be and more. But with the world ending around me, I wanted that indulgence.
Sure.
To my surprise, you answered without an ounce of hesitation, like it was nothing.
But, I'm warning you, storytelling ain't exactly my forte either.
Oh, we both suck. Fantastic.
Ain't too great at talking too, but it gets the job done.
I couldn't resist the smile tugging at my lips. It most certainly does. We switching again? Nope. Took a deep breath. How much do you remember? About tonight? About me? You clicked your tongue, taking a moment to respond.
See. I remember blaming myself for what we'd gone through. Thinking that if I just passed you by, none of this would have happened at all.
If only you knew.
In general, I remember meeting you for the first time.
Anything else?
Well, I remember trying to strike up a conversation one time, but you went and stabbed me right in the middle of it. Said some real creepy shit, too. And one other thing.
Oh?
I remember shooting you.
Yeah, you did that several times. I've been wondering if you were going to bring that up.
I've seen so many impossible things. I thought you were something unholy, something God needed me to kill. But the more I remember now, the more I think you're just someone who's as lost as I am.
Dots. I waited, making sure you were finished before I spoke, or procrastinated on getting on with it, more like. Everything that you have told me did occur once, in one timeline or another. I remember everything, every death, every ending. Sometimes I have lost track of the details here and there, but even as the world moves on without us, I have kept you here, looping again and again. You sighed.
I figured it was something like that. Doesn't take a genius to put two and two together. How long has this been going on?
I'm uncertain. Long enough that I can't roll back any further. Days, undoubtedly. Weeks, perhaps? At this point, it has been more times than you could possibly comprehend, and A sob bubbled under my throat before I could push it back down. I squeezed my eyes shut. I can't keep going any longer. My voice cracked, and I couldn't bring myself to hold it in at all. As disgusting and shameless and useless as I felt, I sobbed there into the dirt once reality came crashing down upon me. All this time, I was trying to escape this stupid, stupid cycle. Breaking out, being captured, being punished, trying to break out again, over and over and over. Something in my chest was aching like it never had before. I sniffed, wiping my nose on my sleeve. I really thought, that this time would be for good, that I could escape and find some better ending, but now I'm stuck in a whole other cycle, and I've gone and roped you into it. I stopped trying to breathe properly. I felt revolting. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I got you dragged into all this. My fingers dug into the ground, my nails scraping at the dirt and loam and ash and filth that they could find. I wanted to scratch my arms instead so badly that it hurt too much to move. And if I could sink my teeth in, maybe I could dull the pain away, just like usual. And then I felt something. Your hand, you were squeezing mine, firm yet so gentle. So I opened my eyes. Oh, we're having a touching moment while we're dying.
Let me tell you a story. I said it so casually, like I had the faintest possible idea what I was doing. I didn't know. I didn't care. All I knew was that this was the end of everything and someone needed my help. Whatever pain you were going through, however much you'd suffered, I'd promised you a story with a happy ending. And if God had abandoned me here, then I sure as hell wasn't going to do the same to you.
I mean, you're not going to go back to the place you were trapped at before.
I took a deep breath and looked up at the stars. This is a story about a scorpion.
It's Tale of the Scorpion and the Frog.
A scorpion with a big, venomous stinger and a scary-looking claws. One day, the scorpion needed to get across a wide open river, yep.
Yeah, it's the Scorpion and the Frog.
But he couldn't swim, obviously, so he went to ask someone for help. Why did he need to get across the river?
Oh, why did he need to get across the river?
Oh, yeah, that's okay. Who knows? To get to the other side?
Oh. Then, who did the scorpion ask for help? A frog or a turtle? I know it's the frog, but...
I want to see what happens if you pick a turtle.
Turtle.
He asked a turtle that was resting nearby on the riverbank.
Isn't it supposed to be a frog?
Hey, who's the one telling the story here? You snorted.
Carry on, then.
So the scorpion asked a turtle for a ride across the river.
I tried to correct you.
The turtle was a strong swimmer with a powerful shell to defend itself with, so he could make it across no problem. The turtle had nothing to fear, so he told the scorpion to climb right on aboard, and the two set off. But
a scorpion's nature is to sting that which it sees. While they were swimming across the river, the scorpion would have no choice but to attack its friend. Dots.
Scorpion's stinger can't pierce a turtle's shell. No matter its nature, the turtle wouldn't get hurt.
Then would the turtle even notice that the scorpion had tried to kill him at all? Yes or no?
Yes. We'll say. Yeah, he would. The turtle would sense the movement on his back and feel the stinger push against his shell.
Then the turtle would have to drown the scorpion.
What?
God granted the turtle with the means to defend himself, did he not? Then it would be the turtle's duty to enact justice on a sinful scorpion. Right? I mean, that's kind of what your logic was, dude.
Right? I guess so.
I do not think I like this story very much.
It's the only one I got, buddy. If you don't like it, come up with a better ending.
It's not that simple.
No? Why not? The future is what you make of it.
The nature of the scorpion cannot be denied. No matter how many times he tries, his fate has already been determined.
What, like destiny or something?
No, just stupidity and self-sabotage.
I squeezed her hand. It doesn't have to be that way, you know.
I have no say in the matter. It is the very essence of an endless cycle. My ending will always remain the same.
Even if you escape it?
There is no escape.
I thought the same thing one time. Thought that whenever I gave in, threw all those months of hard work into the gutter for the sake of another quick smoke, that there was no point in even trying. But the more I struggled, the harder it would get.
And? I was right or wrong?
And I was wrong. And I was wrong. The effort that comes with getting yourself out of something like that, it never really ends. You don't just break out and then you're home free. You have to keep going. As much as it sucks, it's a commitment.
How much more committed do I have to be?
Your voice was full of venom.
You have no idea how long I've been trying. No idea how much...
My fingers curled around yours as you took a shaky breath.
How much I've had to just get this far. If the reason why I'm still here is only because I didn't try hard enough, then maybe I never actually had a chance in the first place.
Maybe so.
Thanks. What? That's really uplifting there, driver. Thanks.
Maybe you just don't have it in you to go at this alone. No shame in it. Happens to the best of us. That's why you gotta know when to cut your losses and ask someone for help. You huffed.
You make it sound so easy.
I know. What was it that you said earlier? It's not that simple? And you're right. It isn't. But if you've already tried everything and you're just about ready to give up anyway, what else do you have to lose?
Nothing. But the same cannot be said for the person helping me.
That's on them. Their life, their choices.
I would still be responsible for the hardships they suffered.
Ugh, what did I just say? You went quiet again, but I'd had enough of this anyway.
What are you?
Come on, you. Up and at 'em. Even as every part of my body screamed in protest, I pulled myself up to my feet, using one of the trees nearby to keep my balance. But I didn't let go of your hand.
You're going to kill yourself if you try to move that much.
Yeah. You killed me plenty of times already. I can handle it.
Okay.
As I said that, I plucked out a piece of shrapnel from my stomach and hissed as the pain hit me all over again.
Ow. Case in point.
Oi, that's enough out of you, wise guy.
You just kick him, it's fine.
Come on, get moving.
Excuse me?
Sliding my hand down to your forearm, you yelped as I pulled you up beside me. I saw your leg was twisted, bent and broken in all the wrong ways, so I eased you onto my shoulder to help you stand. You're coming with me, buddy. This better ending of yours that you want so bad, wherever it is, we're gonna find it. You wobbled, clinging to my arm for dear life.
This is ridiculous. we could not make it a single step, much less far enough to find help.
I dragged us forward past the tree. You practically shrieked. See? Look at that. A step. We'll be out of here before you know it. Your nail stunk into the fabric of my shirt.
Yeah, pain and suffering is all you will get in this realm. Why should we bother?
I grunted, groping for another branch to hold onto while I pulled us forward. It hurt to breathe. Listen, I have no idea what kind of higher power you ascribe to, but God put me here for a reason, and that reason is to rid the world of bad people and look after the good ones. No matter how this ends, whether I get you somewhere safe or die trying, I'm doing exactly what I set out to do. We took the next few steps in silence as my boots slid across the dirt, your bad foot dragging behind you.
You're insane. Well, we already knew he was.
Nope, just stupid.
Yeah, kind of both.
Now, are you gonna help us walk or what? I didn't expect you to respond or do much of anything, really. I was perfectly content to keep us going until I couldn't anymore. But instead, you reached out to touch my chest and... Ow! It felt like I'd been socked in the gut. Something reverberated through me and it took a second to shake off the impact. What the fuck? What the fuck did you do to me? But you didn't answer. When I looked down, I saw you'd gone completely limp. Oi. Oi! You didn't move a muscle. Your head rolled to the side, nosebleed streaming down across your lips.
Oh, did we give ourselves an aneurysm?
And then I realized how much better I was feeling. I looked down at my stomach where the glass had sliced me open from the crash. It was like the wound was closing in on itself. Not healing, per se, but melding together as if it had never been there at all. Like it was reversing itself or rolling back. I kept moving. Ached like hell, but as my strength came back to me, I hoisted you up over my shoulder and carried you as far as I could. It was like you weighed nothing at all. I had no idea how long we'd been stuck here. I had no idea how much time we'd lost or how the world had changed since we were last a part of it. But I knew one thing for certain. I was gonna find us that better ending, even if it killed me. Even if there was no point in trying. Even if neither of us really deserved it. Because God knows we needed it.
And 0 nurture. I think that's the end of it.
The end. Nice.
Yeah, this was a game. Have you ever heard of Itch.io?
No.
Itch.io is a website that a lot of games like this, like, they are strictly only indie games, and a lot of the majority of them are for free. This one was. And there's a lot of, like, game jam games and stuff like that. So this came from Itch.io.
Cool.
It's
Do
just...
they have lots of different, like, genres of, like, indie games and stuff, or are they all kind of...
They have a bunch. Like I said, it's usually for, like, game jams, and they're not always horror. Just... The YouTubers I watch usually do horror, because I have a fascination with horror. Thank you for playing.
Scorpion and the Frog. Okay.
Oh, look at us. We're being so fucking cute. You now have unlocked Ending Gallery. There you can view all the endings you've received, along with the ones you've yet to receive. Simply select the option labeled bonus on the main menu to visit. I hope you enjoyed the strange little story known as HIKEBACK. Although the clock has stopped, if you would play through the game again, you may visit me here where it all began. I hope you find a better ending you seek. So I guess that's talking about, like, a new game plus.
Oh, there's a lot of endings we didn't get.
Yeah. That tends to happen a lot with, well, I can't say it happens a lot. I know, like, Needy Streamer Overload has, like, 20 different endings. So,
How do we get to all of those, though?
you just keep going through the choices.
I guess. I feel like we went through all the choices, though.
Not all of
Obviously
them,
not at some of the later steps I know, so
just a lot
when
of
there are
them.
more
But yeah, that was Hikeback.
cool.
It'd be up to you if you ever want to try to do like a new game plus, but I wanted to at least show you that one because it's
Yeah.
neat. It's just a cool free game. It
Yeah, it
literally costs
is.
you nothing, and it's a good way to blow 2 hours. So
It was
yeah,
fun. It was interesting. It was a good twist. And I honestly didn't really relate it to the scorpion and the frog until like the
the
ending
end.
when they
Yeah,
like explicitly brought it out. But
except they're kind of both the fucking scorpion, and
dude,
they're both the
right?
frog at the same time. It's just like
Dude,
it was
yeah.
fucking
I'm like that was one of those fucking poisonous tree frogs. Shouldn't have been swimming across the river in the first place.
Were you
Yeah.
very shocked when you found out that the driver was actually just a terrible fucking person?
I was, because at first I was like, this seems like just a chill dude, right?
And
Like,
he's just getting stabbed, like, what the fuck?
yeah, yeah. Why is this traumatized child just fucking over this person? Why doesn't it ever occur to him not to do it? And then it's like, oh, well, I mean, this person is actually trying to kill him, so.
Yeah, he catfishes people online, like, yeah, they're predators, but like,
Vigilante justice.
yeah, it's like, it's a weird,
But like his judgment obviously isn't perfect because he thought that he thought that the hiker was, bad too. He thought Rollback was a bad person, and then at the end he realized, oh, you're not really a bad person. You're just trying to find your way in the world. It's like, yeah,
yeah,
you possibly. Now I don't know if he exclusively goes out and finds and murders predatory people, or if he also just uses his judgment in other ways.
no, he
But
basically said well, it's not
that's
just
mostly
predators,
what
he
he
said
does.
that's
Yeah.
his usual stomping grounds, is he just
Well, that
picks
his
off
usual stomping
people.
grounds is the area locally.
Yeah, he
Is
picks off bad people that he considers. And it's like, that's, I don't know what to say about that. You're kind of a bad person, and also at the same time, like, nobody fucking cares that you're killing pedophiles. Nobody actually does.
yeah, right. Like I liked the driver, and then I didn't like him, and then I kind of liked him again at the end. I'm like, why do I feel this way?
You probably felt that way about Rollback, too, though.
I mean, Rollback kind of annoyed me, but like I didn't dislike him at any point because even though he kept, being like murdery and stabby, I was like, I mean, it's frustrating, but it was more like, come on, child, please just realize that there are other choices you can make. Like it was
Yeah.
more like exasperation than anything else. I wasn't like, ugh, stupid, idiotic dude. I was rooting for Rollback the whole time. I wanted him to like well, not the whole okay, not after the very first ending, obviously, when you don't know anything, but like,
Yeah, the very
yeah.
first time, you're just like, dude, what the fuck?
The fuck?
I
Yeah. The
think
first
what
or second time, yeah, I was still like, this is just a stabby dude. But then I was like, okay, but I want to know what's making him stabby. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was intrigued.
I think with the New Game Plus, it kind of sounds like it would delve more back into, Rollback story, but, like,
Hmm.
we're probably not going to do that tonight because we've already been streaming for 2 hours, and you
Yeah,
probably have work tomorrow, I assume.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I'm going to stop that for now, folks. Thank you for stopping by. I
Thanks for
don't know if we
joining
will
us.
stream this again to check out the other stuff, but there's at least the main story. So,
Hmm.
bye.